What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined as always by my dad Shawn, and today, reactions to the classics. We're going to be reviewing Alex G and his 2012 record, Trick. This comes courtesy of a suggestion from big Alex G fan.
Yes.
And one of our closest patrons and friends of the channel here, Shane O'Mac, as we call him over here.
Shady.
That's right, man. So I know Shane was really hyped for us to listen and review this, and I'm excited to kind of dive in track by track to it because we'd only ever heard a couple other Alex G songs. So we're going to dive into this one. Before we do, though, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. That helps us out. Hit that big red subscribe button if you like what you see. And if you'd like to have us maybe review or react to something for you, you can check out our Patreon page down below and be like Shane. Shout out to the patrons who help keep this channel up and going.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
And I guess all that to say, man, let's dive into this record.
Well, I got a couple things for you. One, it was really hard to find information. I'm the research guy. It's really hard to find information on this album. I did dig up a little bit. This album was released in 2012 by Alex G himself, back when he was known as Sandy, on his Bandcamp site.
Yeah.
And then when he signed in 2015 with Domino, they released this along with his album Rules, so it got to a more mainstream audience. But let's talk about Alex G for a minute, because most of the people watching this, I mean, you might be a fan and found us this way, but a lot of people watching are normal subscribers that watch our stuff. So Alex G is often characterized as an indie rock with a lo-fi or, quote, bedroom pop aesthetic due to him recording all of his music by himself in his home, frequently compared to Elliott Smith, who's an influence of his. He stated his creative process consists of him usually working alone in his room with his guitar and adding other instruments later. When asked about working in a professional recording studio, he replied, "I feel like I'm eventually going to have to do that, but I just don't want to, because I don't know how to work all that stuff, and I don't want anyone else to have control. I just want to have my own ideas out there, and I'm uncomfortable with anything else." So an interesting guy that you can do these things nowadays.
Yeah.
Back in the day you couldn't. You know, as we're filming this, McCartney 3 just came out yesterday. Kind of a little reminder of that kind of stuff, of you can just
just self-made,
do all that stuff yourself. So pretty impressive. But in that, as we get into the album, you can tell that, you know, it has kind of that bedroom.
Well, Shane told me that, he recorded this at his grandmother's house and would have to kind of like whisper some of the lyrics,
Makes
which,
sense,
you know, as you're listening to it, you can tell, man. But I think that is a good point, Dad, about how, most of the records we review are, kind of pre-2000.
Yeah.
But especially in this past decade with Bandcamp coming up, with SoundCloud.
Yeah, exactly.
These different sites that allow people to go from A to Z and, produce their own stuff, get it out there. There's positives in that, and where you don't have to be on a label now to release your stuff. There's negatives in a sense that now the market is so saturated because everybody can put their stuff out. It is a little bit tougher to stand out amongst the masses, but I like to think that the cream rises to the top. And of course, Alex G, like you said, signed to a label in 2015, and they were able to help push this record out, man. So anyways, I guess we can get rocking.
Jump into 16 songs on this thing, but really short, like 37 minutes, I think.
Yeah. It's and the last 3 were like considered bonus tracks, but everybody kind of considers them part of the record. So we
went ahead and included them, on the review. So we're gonna start off with Memory. Most likely about drugs. There's got to be a common theme on here, but interesting that towards the end of it, it takes a sample of Everybody Loves Raymond, the famous sitcom back in the day. So I thought it was kind of curious to take that on.
No, and you already, one of the things that impressed me on this record was the guitar work and just kind of that loud, quiet dynamic with Alex's voice coming in with the guitar work that is on most tracks pretty well produced here.
Yeah, and I thought on this one I put nice guitar on it, and I will talk a little bit on this. The mixing is different on different songs. Some of them he kind of comes to the forefront with his vocals, but a lot of them, that guitar is mixed in, so his vocals are kind of just there. They're kind of even on this. If you listen to traditional music, the vocals are amplified and the instrumentation is in the back. I would say almost 70% vocals, 30% instrumentation. But on this song, it's like 50-50, so it almost drowns him out a little bit at times, but you can hear what he's saying. And this song, like a lot of them, I think it goes back to the bedroom production. When it ends, there's no fade out. It just,
boom, we're just down. And I like the line in this one, "I'm helping it my own way when I'm stuck in bed. A little more than a memory sticks in my head." Just an overall, I think, pretty strong way to kind of introduce us to the sound we were going to get on the record. And then that's going to move us now to track number 2, Forever.
And on this one, I don't know if he's drinking, on drugs, something. The first chorus tells him to pull it together and he can be loved forever. The second chorus, he declares he can pull it together and they can love him forever. Acoustic Trey, much more bright instrumentally is what I put, and the vocals are much more to the forefront. Nice track.
No, Shane called this. He said there's some horns in there, which you'll enjoy if you watch the channel. You know, I'm always down for a good horn section, and they came in very subtly at the end.
They did.
As you mentioned, Dad, more of an acoustic guitar showcase, and I like the lyrical progression where he kind of starts off as a lost drunk to finally realizing that he can have love from somebody.
Yep.
So I thought that was kind of a cool touch there.
Yeah, now we're going to move on to Animals, where he talks a little bit about drug use, but mostly about his dog Rosie and how he prefers to spend time with Rosie, more so than he does with humans. So I think a lot of us with dogs might relate to that at different times in our lives. Nice chorus, nice vocals, probably a 50-50 mix. You can hear him, but the instrumentation's quite nice.
Yeah, real catchy melody here, and Alex kind of playing with the audience, noting I do animals, not people. So, you know, he has some of those humorous moments up in there. I thought it was a bit of a step down from the first two, but still enjoyable, man. And now we're going to go to string.
Yeah, in the first minute and a half, this has this repeating riff, no vocals. More about the vibe of the song, I think, than the vocals. He tells her it's a funny movie, why not go? It's a crazy party, why not go? Chorus asks, are you a girl on a string? So, you know, just more about the vibe of this one.
Well, this was the longest track on the record, and I kept waiting it for it to hit that next gear or whatnot.
You know, and I'll mention again on record, 37 minutes, 16 songs, but this one's 5 minutes long. So really it's taken up about 17% of the album.
No, and this is one, I like kind of, it had a little bit of a funky vibe, but I think the charm of this entire record is almost like the bite-sized songs that come in.
Yeah, I agree.
And this one at 5 minutes, it didn't do enough to kind of grip me in and you know, pull me into what he was saying. So I thought it meandered a bit.
All right, well, we're going to move on to Advice, a short song, just kind of the lines, there's kind of some common advice given to you. The instrumentation's much heavier in this. I'd say his vocals are about 35 and the instrumentation's 65. You can't exactly hear him. Maybe Grandma was around and he needed to whisper. I mean, you can get there, but you gotta really listen intently to get what he's saying.
No, I did. We were getting back on the right track after String, I thought, on this one. And again, I had some quirkiness to the lyrics, which I enjoyed on this one. And, you know, now we're going to kind of start a string, no pun intended, of, you know, songs that are in kind of the, you know, minute to 2 minute range up in there, and that's going to take us to People.
This one mentions alcohol and drugs in the last verse. Doesn't love anyone but himself and Marty because he holds his money. Mentions Sarah, short lyrically. Much more acoustic, Trey. More vocals from the jump on this one.
Yeah, he has some true thoughts come out here with the line, I want to be famous. Do you think they want me? And I think Alex is good at getting those insecurities out that we all kind of face in our life and kind of putting words to it. I thought it was a bit ironic that a song called People is about him wanting to be alone and being alone. And then next up, we're going to go 82nd track here with Whale. It was a bit whack for me, but
it was more than a bit whack, man. Says his favorite animal was a whale.
Yeah, no, it's one of those. There's a couple on this record that have that kind of out there. We'll get to one later on called Kute, which is another story that's a bit wild here. But I mean, it was short and to the point. I didn't hate it or anything.
No, and he says he wants to cut off a piece of this whale and fry it up with cinnamon and a pear. So nice acoustic, like you said, short. Then we jump into an instrumental. Trick, nice guitar tones, pretty chilled out. Electronic somewhat in there.
Yeah, no, this again kind of did a good job setting the vibe, the atmosphere, where you could just kind of lay back, close your eyes, and get lost into the soundscape that Alex was producing here.
And now we're going to get to the track you mentioned, Kute with a K.
Yeah, and this song, Kute, is Shane's girlfriend's favorite Alex G song, so shout out to Ashley right there. And you know, pretty violent and brutal lyrics. It's a big contrast, but as I was digging online, I was like, okay, what is this about? And I read a couple things that seemed to make sense to me, that he's going to kill a chicken. And here's a line that I think kind of, you know, as you read the lyrics, kind of lends some credence to that. And when I die, I'll dig you up. I'll tear out all your feathers, cook you in the oven. So I hope he's talking about a chicken here,
Let's hope so. This one's interesting. It starts right out with lyrics, which a lot of the songs don't. And, you know, the lyrics are mixed right to the front, so you can you can get a front row seat and make sure you hear those things loud and clear on the vocals. But an interesting song and pretty good. That'll move us to So. It's only 8 lines. Says he's so blue, and how can I show you? Pretty up-tempo for the lyrics, Trey. Nice guitar.
Yeah, he notes, you make me sick, you make me like it. Again, strong job using his vocals to kind of convey that emotion that he's got packed in there. As you said, that I thought it had strong instrumentation. And then we're going to go to the only track on this record that we both knew. We have a song reaction to it up. It's called Mary. And on this one, Alex G, at first you think he's kind of talking about a girl, a good-looking girl, but as it goes on, you figure out, oh, this is about Mary Jane, marijuana, weed, whatever your flavor of the month is. And he kind of notes his relationship with it, how it's always there for him, this or that. But at the end, he kind of sums it up in saying, you got to watch out or else it can take too big an importance in your life.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't have much more to add to this. It's a nice laid-back vibe. Really enjoyed it. I don't know if I really enjoyed it so much because we'd listened to it.
That's true. That familiarity.
That familiarity, even though we'd only listened to it a little bit, that brings us to Change. He repeats he doesn't like how things change 6 times to end the song. Not sure who he is writing to, Trey. Is it a friend? Is it a girlfriend? Are they dead? I don't know. It's chilled out, and his vocals again take center stage.
Yeah, I think this is the most melancholy track on here, and kind of gets to the that heart of the relationship whenever somebody becomes somebody else's crutch, and
dangerous thing. Man.
Yeah, and just how that can mess not only the the person who is the crutch, but the other person in the relationship as well, and kind of those that toxicity that you hope to not find in a relationship, but so often comes up. So I thought this was really strong just because it did feel very personal to Alex on this one.
I agree, and that's going to move us to an instrumental, Clouds. And I mean, this is so cliche, Trey, but it does sound sort of dreamy. It's got the piano in there, a little different instrumentation. So, I mean, obviously, I think it sounds dreamy. Alex G knew it, and that's why he named it that.
No, I mean, my notes here say that another well-produced track that puts your head in the clouds and makes you remember things you thought you'd never forget. So I just, it was a really tight instrumental and an enjoyable, pleasant on the ear.
And now we'll get to the first of those bonus tracks you talked about at the end, Adam. This is a very interesting song. Lyrically, it's about a bully takes the lunchbox, but at the end says, I want him so the bully's got a crush.
Yeah.
And it's more acoustic, but at the first it's pretty driving for this album.
No, definitely, and I really enjoyed that last line where it then made you want to go and listen to the song again. With the new context of this guy's bullying this other guy, but
Adam's the guy getting bullied, by the way.
Yeah, and he's doing it out of the sense of, oh man, I got a crush on you, and I don't know how to display those feelings and whatnot. So I thought this was a really, really strong tune in there, and Shane noted some kind of similarities with the Adam song of Blink 182, one of my favorite Blink tunes.
Oh, mine too, man. Fantastic song. That's going to take us to Sarah. It's about a broken relationship. Part of it he shares he feels he can never live up to her expectations. Other parts he laments how he treated her. Last line is, did I make a mistake? A nice soundscape on this. So he goes from kind of blaming her and not being able to kind of match up to what she wants. And then at the end, he's like, man, maybe I screwed this up.
No, and I think these were the strongest lyrics on the record. Man, this should have been on the original release.
I agree, and so should have the previous song, Adam. I mean, they really add something to the album.
And again, had those dreamy guitars, reminded me of kind of that vaporwave that was getting big in that early 2010 era here. And I just like the fact that the protagonist in the song recognizes, oh man, I did screw up, I did take advantage of this and that, and I appreciate the honesty there.
Yeah.
And then we end with probably the weakest song on this record. I know Shane's not a fan of this either. We have Mirrors featuring R.L. Kelly.
Not R. Kelly.
I about got, that would have been something.
I had to double take when I looked at it, when I was looking at the lyrics before I listened to the album. I'm like, what? Wait a minute, what? R.L. Kelly. Trey, on this I wrote, I don't even know what this is about. That's what I wrote. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and just I wasn't a fan of the R.L. Kelly vocals coming in here as well, and just it's getting a little experimental, this or that. It just fell a little flat, which is a shame. It should have ended, I think, with one of the two, with maybe Sarah. But hey, man, it's one of the only tracks that I thought was kind of weak on here, man. Which segues us perfectly into our favorite tracks on this record.
Well, it's easy to remember the tracks on here because they're so short on
Yeah.
names. But I got Mary, Adam, Sarah, Forever.
Going with the names
That could be
there.
something I could write on a tree, right? Mary, Adam, Sarah, Forever.
I'm going to go with So, going to go with Change, Memory, Forever, and then Sarah for me.
Well, we got a lot of different ones.
Yeah,
That's good.
so putting in the work there. Now, we'll go to our overall score of this record. You want me to start?
Yeah, you can start
well,
it off.
Well, I enjoyed this one because it had a nice cohesive theme, it seemed,
did.
to this record. From the start to the finish, the guitar work, I think, was definitely the highlight instrumentally on this
Agreed.
record. And though Alex doesn't have, like, you know, a knock you out of your shoes voice or anything, it works with the type of sound he's trying to go for.
For sure.
And it kind of blends in with that dreamy and hazy instrumentation from the guitar work at times that we have here. Some quirkiness in here, some strong, like, intense moments as well. Stuff on depression, relationship, drugs. Had a little bit of everything, man. So I thought this was really, really good. And so I'm gonna go with a 7.75 for me.
Should have went first because I share many of your sentiments. You know, I think it's tough putting out 16 songs, but it is only 37 minutes. I think that's a big thing working to its advantage. But with 16 songs, it's always a bit difficult to rate, right? Because you're always going to have some that stand out.